Hello, I'm doing a floss tube, an actual one. Let's not say it's a New Year's resolution, let's say it's an old year resolution. I said I was going to do one back in September throughout the entire fall season, and well, that didn't happen. So this is Flosstube 1.1 beta, test subject. But this will hopefully be the first one I put on YouTube and then continue throughout the year. Um, I will just blame it on camera storage issues, technical stupidity. I'm shooting this from my laptop, so hopefully that will work. But let me get started with just a couple of introductions, as this is my first time doing an actual floss tube, and a lot of people have seemed to have been receptive of me posting stuff on Instagram, so I thought I'd do a floss tube to just show you my progress of stitching and ideas for new projects in the future. So, like I said, it is December. Everyone is probably done with their Christmas stuff and moving on to their New Year's goals. I'm going to show you my Halloween and spooky finishes for the year of 2022, which is about most of them. But let me get started just by explaining my channel. My name is Jess. I have been cross-stitching. I've learned to do it about 25 years ago back in middle school. It's been my primary hobby for the last 10 years, I think. 10 years where I steadily do it, but I've been stitching on and off since middle school, through high school, college, and now it's just my devoted hobby right now. I'm on Instagram at Spring Hill Stitches. I changed that name recently. It is a takeoff on Spring Hill Jack, which is a pre-Victorian era cryptid, urban legend, possibly alien encounter, however you believe. How I came upon that name. Everyone has really fun, cryptid names that they enjoy. I am a Last Podcast fan. You might see the poster in the background. If you are a Last Podcast fan, welcome and hail yourselves. You're amazing, guys. But I found out about that through the podcast. It's one of my favorite episodes. Henry does a classic goofy Spring Heel Jack impersonation as they tell the story of it. Um, but there's also great resources online. PBS Monstrosity did a really good rundown of it. It was basically a cryptid or apparition, ghost, demon. Lots of interpretations who seem to be specifically attacking women in pre-Victorian London. He would, shoot fire, scratch them, and then he was described as having actual spring-heeled shoes and jumping over walls. So it was definitely saying that there was possibly a person who is doing this. I just kind of find it funny. It's one of the lesser known cryptids. It's not funny, like, not like, haha, when they're getting attacked. But it's kind of interesting mythos of how that kind of evolved from this, is it a person? Is it an urban legend? Did it become so outrageous and develop throughout the years that it was like, well, possibly couldn't have been a person, but maybe the origins of it did spring from an actual crime. But just interesting. And then, of course, Last Podcast. I love their interpretation of it, so I thought that'd be a fun name for it. I am in no way fit like Spring Hill Jack. I don't jump over walls. I don't terrorize women. I'm just your basic stitching basic girl. That's what you will find on this channel. I kind of stick to basic cross stitch. Other people go into fabulous designs, do those gigantic charts. They're wonderful. I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think it's my style. I do enjoy watching them, but here you're going to see stuff. I get my fabrics at Joann and Michaels or order them online. I'm chicken. I grid my fabrics with a pen with a fabric pen because I've been burnt too many times of miscounting. I don't do linen too much just for that one reason. That is, I also have terrible vision, as you can see from my giant glasses and the giant lights reflecting in them and my head. I'm sort of a cryptid myself there. But basically, I will do the stuff that is more accessible to local crafters. So if you're just starting to cross stitch, I feel that most of the patterns I do are fairly simple, even if they are a bit larger, so hopefully um, you might get some enjoyment from that. Also on this channel, I will laugh at myself and make fun of myself, so please feel along to laugh at me and with me. It's okay. I'm my worst critic, so I don't mind any of that goofiness. But that's just a bit of basic on me and what I do. I kind of have about two different moods in life as well as cross stitching. I either love Disney, or I love spooky stuff, true crime, which is over here on the other side of the wall. It's either or. I work for the prosecutor's office as a paralegal, so I kind of deal with true crime a lot, and it follows me home. Sometimes I need a refresher, and I take a break, and that's why I do kind of fun and fluffy stuff. So it's either or you'll see from me. But enough about me. Let's look at some of the stuff I finished this year. I'll start off with the small stuff. Let me grab those pieces really quick. So in September, I just decided I was going to vote 90 days throughout the fall season to just finish up all these spooky cross stitches, because I didn't want it to be like, oh, it's Halloween and everyone's making these fun pumpkins and ghosts and all this other cool stuff, and I'm just like doing something that has nothing to do with the season because I feel obligated to finish it up. So I put all of that down, decided I was just going to do some spooky stuff, which I also had a lot of in my stash. Shocking. So let me start off with the first one. I think I finished this right in September. This is a Mill Hill kit. I adore Mill Hills very much. And this is called Moonlight Manor. It is basically, you've got dark grays, black, and a combination of your yellow and oranges. And I'm trying to pull it up so it's a little bit clear, because as I was stitching it, they had all the instructions. They said, you know, this many for the moon, this many threads, this thread. I'm like, the moon? Well, where is the moon? Because I was looking for a crescent moon. Um, the moon is here. It is above the manor, hence the name. But it was very confusing. Like, where is the moon? I can't tell. And of course, the pattern is like only paper size, so it's also very small. I'm like, where's the moon? There's the moon. It also has a couple other companion pieces with a Mill Hill, so you can find those. It's kind of the same design. I think I probably do have a couple of those still sitting in my stash that I didn't finish, and they all come with this very cute pumpkin button. And on pumpkin buttons continuing, this is another Mill Hill kit that I was saying in my stash, probably gifted to me. And this is Wendy's cat. So same pumpkin button here, a motif. Very cute. Obviously a lot of black, but as you can see, the outline of the beads are a fun incandescent, slightly cool rainbow color. So not completely rainbow, but also not just jet black, which I appreciate because that's, you know, fun to mix it up a little bit. Love this pumpkin. Love the beadwork on him. I really did like the beads on these kits. Sometimes with Mill Hills, they kind of come with these two different types of beads if you've ever done them before. But they come with either very small beads or kind of slightly larger beads. The slightly larger beads are going to be what you're going to do with half cross stitches. They go very smoothly. Feels wonderful doing them. Then you get to the tiny beads. The tiny beads are full cross stitch beads. And because I'm paranoid, I anchor them down with two threads instead of one. Some people might do one, I do two. So the thing is, you then have to make sure that you have your very small beading needle fitting through this bead one way and then back way on the cross stitch. And yes, sometimes the bead hole is not that big and it gets stuck. So then you either have to try to unbead your other thread through it or get it out, or just give up and snip it off, try to thread down, and then restart it again. What I've usually been doing is I usually like to do a loop start with most of my stuff. What I do instead when I'm doing the beading is I actually take the needle, and instead of having the two threads come through here, I do it so the loop is at the bottom of the needle, and then I kind of knot it or secure it the other way. That way I'm only pulling through just the 2 threads, not the doubled up 4 threads that I usually do when I do that. But I believe, looking at this one, I think there were only a few places where I had to do those really tiny seed beads and do a half cross stitch, and I don't think I had to get frustrated and knock a couple beads out, but that was fun. Every time that it's a small kit and it's fun and enjoyable is great for me. Just kind of a kicker when it's such a small tiny piece and it gives you a lot of frustration. So I like frustration free cross stitch, as I'm sure we all do. This one is super cute, and I actually got this from my mom. I think it was a gift. She was intending to cross stitch it. I was helping her clean out her space, and she said, "Oh, if you see something you like, feel free to take it." And I was like, "I love him." And she kind of gave me a look like, "Yes, I also love him." And I wanted to stitch him. But I made sure to stitch him for mom. So this is from, I'm going to check my notes. Sama Street? Yes. So this is Jody Rice's is the designer, and so she's done a couple of Christmas ornaments and now Christmas Halloween ornaments. So this is the Nutcracker Pumpkin King. I love the Nutcracker as a Christmas story, and then of course it's the pumpkin, so it's Halloween. Again, he is mostly cross stitch. Hold him up there a little bit closer, but he does have some fun sequin bead effects to him. So it's a little bit on his coat. His eyeballs are sequins, his crowns are sequins. So basically the sequins came in the package, and besides the eyes, it seemed like a little bit of a designer's choice of what you wanted to do with those sequins. So those are beaded through with a bead on top and then secured down there. Again, when this one I actually had to cut out to make sure he was finished, so he's finished with a little bit of thread there holding his candy corn scepter, and then his crown, I believe I finished that with some thread and a little bit of glue just for extra comfort. But he's adorable, and I finished this one at work. This was my work project I took to work, and I finished him on the back with a little bit of neutral color felt that I had around. And then my last small project, beaded project, lots of beads, was another Mill Hill kit. This was one my daughter saw in the store when we were walking around. She thought it was super cute. My daughter says that Thanksgiving is her favorite holiday. We actually ranked the holidays this year. I wrote out the top 10 major holidays, and she ranked Thanksgiving as number 1, Halloween was number 2, and I think when we did the list, she said Christmas was like number 8 or 7. Christmas was rather low, which, I get it. But I was just kind of shocked. Kids usually say that Christmas is their favorite holiday. But she also says that she loves Thanksgiving because she loves the food and she loves hanging out with her family. So this was a cute one. This is 80% white. So I did all the white first, and then I did the colors. You see each bead has not only just about 2 colors with them, but also corresponding beads. And the little pumpkin button has shown up again. So that was a nod back to the Halloween projects. So let's go on to some other finishes I did during September for spooky season. I'm going to bring up this one first. This is a glow-in-the-dark pumpkin, which I do not have the skill to photo correctly, but other people have done this pumpkin, and if you look at the listing on Etsy, you can see the pictures of it. I've seen pictures of it. In fact, the pictures of people finishing this object made me want to do this. But the idea about this is it's a lovely, sweet pumpkin piece to hang in your living room, and people go, "Oh, how nice, what a cute pumpkin." And then of course in here is the jack-o'-lantern smile, and it's quite a wicked evil smile. It's very, very spooky, and so when the lights go off, that spooky smile comes out. So it's just like, here's my good side, and then when all you people are out of my house and the lights go off, here's my spooky side, here's my wild side. So this one is by Lumi Luau Shop, Lumilua. Spell that out because I probably said it completely wrong. So you want to go there, you want to see this here. This was my first time using glow-in-the-dark floss, and I had to double check myself several times because I'm like, I don't think it's very glow-in-the-dark. But when I finished it, I put it underneath like a bin with a camp lantern on to charge it, because you gotta charge your glow in the dark stuff, and it did come up. So there was a success there. And of course I didn't grid this one, and then so I did the pumpkin in the middle first, and then this entire border, which is a very nice folks artsy kind of design. And of course, because I was doing that, I was praying, please, 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 please make those ends meet. And they did. So great success. So that was one of my quick ones that I did. And I love this fabric. Got this fabric off of someone on Etsy. I actually ordered the wrong size. I went, oh, that's a tiny piece of fabric. But I said, I have a project for it. So I did that little pumpkin. Let's see. My next one is a stitch along that I did. This will be my second year doing the Stitchonomy stitch along that they do on Halloween. This is free to sign up for every year that she puts it on. You just have to make sure that you sign up before a certain deadline. And I think she releases the deadlines way in advance, maybe like even in July or August. I'm not sure, but I know I got an email. Would you like to sign up? Yes. And then, of course, I promptly forgot the dates that it was going to be released and then got behind. So I said, I have to finish this before it's Halloween. And I'm going to turn it right side up because I had it upside down. So this year her design was the Cabinet of Curiosities, kind of dating back to a medieval, goodness, medieval kind of process of, the oddities in a cabinet or medicine man's cabinet. So with this piece, it's 31 spots for each day of October. The frame is released early. I believe the actual patterns finish before October, like maybe October 15th, so you do have time to stitch it through the entirety of October. So I filled mine up here. My one issue with this was I did hers last year, which was a storybook, and I had this really fun oatmeal fabric, which I just happened to have extra of in my stash. And so I said, I'll do it on the oatmeal fabric so it matches the other one. And then she released the designs, and a lot of them are heavy in white only fabric. So I had to make a couple of changes. And fun thing about doing these stitch alongs is the designers encourage you to post on Instagram with a hashtag so you can go see what other people are doing and say, oh, that looks interesting. Maybe I'll try that with my design to make it pop. So I did the Eye of Newt, gave it some extra back stitching. This spider up here is supposed to be all white. I did a blend of gray and white so he stands out a little bit. Basically going down, I either doubled up the length of the back stitching to make it pop, or I just added some more darker colors to make it pop as well. I believe the hand jar was supposed to be all white. I did that in gray. And going on, I did change a couple of things from the design as I got inspiration from other folks. Some things still didn't pop, like the unicorn isn't really popping. The eyeball, you can tell it's an eyeball, but it's not really popping either. I did make one change, and I think I made a change last year to one of the designs, just because, I'm trying to remember. I think this year is because it was another all-white design, and I couldn't find a way that would make it work on my fabric without it kind of, just looking out of place or, not aesthetic. So I tried to match her aesthetic as much as I did. Let me show you the one that I made up myself, which is mummy dust. So one of those things that people had back in their cabinets because people were snorting mummy dust, mixing it into paint, mixing it into medicine, all sorts of stuff, ground bones of ancient Egyptians, good for what ails you. So I decided that would be something fun in my cabinet. So I did a little box with the dust and a little mummy right there. I think it fits in pretty well. So this will be fun. I have the other one. Maybe I'll hang it up like how your mom used to hang your school pictures. They would just put the new one on top of the other one, so that I can open up the frame and look back. But I'm thinking about that. I'm trying to find some different ideas of framing. As I said, I'm pretty basic. I kind of only save, actual professional framing for something I really want it to look super nice or important, or it's a gift or something. Usually everything else, I just go to Michael's, buy a frame, and I put it in there as best I can. I'm not picky, but or I also just finish in a hoop. Lots of hoop finishes. Most of my stuff is a hoop finish. So I'm trying to think of some different ideas of framing my stuff. And then, of course, storing it, because I will run out of room on my walls if I hang up everything. I mean, this is just one wall of my house. On the other wall is just an absolute mishmash of my daughter's drawings. So I'd like to find a way. Maybe that's one of my 2023 goals, is working on new ways of framing things and storing them and bringing them out in rotation so I can display them. So that was the Cabinet of Curiosity stitch along. I finished it Halloween night, so I made my goal. I did it. All right. And then this one was not a Halloween start, but a Halloween finish. This is The Legend of Spooky Hollow. It is by the Witchy Stitcher. I think maybe the Spring Hill Jack and Headless Horseman connection. I kind of like their vibe, so I kind of am drawn to that. I have a Spooky Hollow, actually I have a Spooky Hollow shirt on right now, and I have a mug, and now I have this, and I will turn into an undead Hessian, and when I die, I will come back and ride headless on a horse for all eternity. Sounds grand. Anyway, this is by the Witchy Stitcher. I like her work. I've done a bunch of it. This was a super fun project. It has a little bit of creative counting in it, but I charged forward and went for it. So as you can see here, it's got the year of the publishing of it. I actually found this frame at a thrift shop, painted it black, and it works for me because I saw that it was finished in an oval frame when it was put out, and I was like, well, that's what I want to do. And maybe I'll give it some extra spider webs or something like that, but right now it's finished in a frame. That is a win for me. So I actually bought this as a birthday present for myself in June, stitched on it for the couple months, put it aside, and then once I decided I was going to do Halloween projects, this is one of the first ones I pulled out and first ones I finished. So Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And then last but not least, not a Halloween finish, but certainly spooky and probably the highlight of my year. So I'm in Ohio, and I go to the Ohio State Fair because it's local, and I see that everyone will put in cross stitch, and me and my mom will look and like a bunch of mean girls and say, well, we could have done that. In some years there have been I feel some unfair, judging in there. I think the last year before COVID, I saw like a gorgeous full color cross stitch done of the Beatles Abbey Road color. You could tell they used lots of blends, and then it lost to a very basic, well done stitch, but a very basic, small, like not even a, not even paper, letter size, maybe like 5x7, of like some bunnies and chipmunks. And it was stitched very well, and it was very clean, but that won first prize and best in show. I'm like, well, so we always go like, well, I should enter something in the fair, and then we don't, because we don't. So it's like, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to enter something in the fair. So I decided to stitch this up. And when I went to go enter it, I said, and I thought it was very clean, it's very nice. It's not like super technical, so I'm okay if I don't, if I don't win because it's not super technical. It's just more of like, hey, I did it. I have to say that I did it once, if not more. So I went, and of course we did not have the fair in 2020 or 2021. I went to go drop off my piece, and I said one of two things are going to happen. There's nothing here, or everything is here. So I went to drop it off, and I saw the gal take it, and she puts it on the table. There's like 3 or 4 card tables long, already full of cross stitch. Now this is like, even though it's a state fair, we've gone there and we've seen like 6 pieces entered. So the state fair this year went from one cabinet of cross stitch to a whole row of cross stitch. There had to have been at least 20 to 30 pieces in there. They were all spectacular. So it was really nice to see that. And I was like, yeah, we all stayed inside and cross stitched for 2.5 years. And now we have pieces to enter in the fair. So I entered this in. I was in a separate category because of the count. This is 18 count. So they went, 22 count and above, 16 to 18, then 14 count and below. So I put this into my thing. I didn't win a ribbon. That's okay because the ribbons are like 20 bucks. I think the top ribbon is maybe like $100. I actually lost to the Best in Show. The Best in Show was in my category and it was gorgeous. It was, super large, beautiful portrait, lots of colors, lots of beading. It was a woman, she's wearing like a shawl, and so the shawl was 3D'd with the thicker back stitching and then knotting. I mean, it was gorgeous. It was Best in Show. So, and then the other two that were there were wonderful, vivid pieces, excellent stitching work. So I was just like, yeah, don't feel bad losing to any of these at all. So, but anyway, I put it in, and this is what I submitted to the fair. It is from Magic Country Stitch. You might recognize their work. They do a lot of the fictional poster travel posters. So Visit Mordor, Visit Rivendell. But this was Visit New York City, and if you can tell, it's Ghostbusters. I made this for my family because my redheads, my husband and my daughter, are super Ghostbusters fans. So I decided to do it. It was a fun project. There's maybe 12 colors in here in total, so it was very easy. It was very soothing to do these things as well. Had to do a little bit of fudging on the back stitch just because it is Aida, not linen. So I couldn't like go in those, extra holes. I had to go pick a hole, make it look as nice as possible. But I kind of really do love the colors in it. I'll give you a little bit of a shot up here. New York, you've got Slimer in the house. And then you got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man looking out through New York. And the ring light, an orb. This is a setup I have. I've been trying to work with natural light. It's not working, so hopefully that's not a distraction to you. Maybe I'll put a warning saying like, warning, very large lights. Also woman with very big forehead, whose forehead is reflecting those large lights. So this was my entry to the piece. It was in a category of 5 other people, and I was the only one of 2 who didn't, well, maybe I think there are 3. Oh no, there's about 6 of us. So 3 of us didn't win a ribbon. That's okay. I did it. And now I'm excited to think about something I'm going to enter in the fair. If not this year, maybe next year, and maybe I'll do a county fair instead. Like I said, because I kind of work on a little bit more simpler pieces like this. And at the fair this year, there were plenty of intricate pieces, lots of colors, the big women in dresses and the flowy dresses. My mom used to say it's like all those patterns with women in flowy dresses and beads. I'm like, yeah, they're popular. That's what, catches people's eye. So it's my Halloween spooky finishes. It is December that I'm finally getting this up. But I said I wanted to shoot a Flosstube. Hopefully I do not have technical issues and I didn't just talk to myself for 30 minutes. Well, I did talk to myself for 30 minutes. But hopefully you will enjoy this. If you are interested in pieces that I'm working on, follow me on Instagram at Spring Hill Stitches. And I will be posting up floss tubes throughout the year, showing you my progress. I think next time we'll talk about my goals for 2023, and I'll show my works in progress, because trust me, I don't just have the 10 pieces I work on throughout the year and then finish the year. Wouldn't that be lovely? But I don't. I'm staring over in the corner where I have boxes of unfinished work, and there's also bagged up work here that I've said, like, I'm gonna work on that piece. I'll start next year. And they've been waiting there for about 2 years. So I like to get some of those done. But for my next one, I will show those off, if you like what you see, or if you've done one of these pieces. If you want information about the patterns, I'll try to put that in the description. Most of my stuff I gets on Etsy or the designers' websites. I believe Witchy Stitcher has her own website. I think Country Magic Stitch has moved most of her patterns off to Etsy, so those are there. But I will tell you the patterns where I get them from, or if you want more details, I'm more than happy to share that. But if you stayed till the end, welcome. I hope my voice wasn't too grating. And feel free to subscribe and follow me to see what I'm stitching up next. Talk to you later.